My wife and I first started dating. She bought me some flowers.
She romanced you.
She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no,
I could see a pedicure.
Would you do?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet, and you can do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
the Tim and Tam talk. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.
What's up? Welcome to our very live Tim and Tam Talks podcast, The Back Pew. I'm Tam.
What's up, y'all? I'm Tim.
And we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us on this very late night edition of The Back Pew. Let's get into it, Tim. We got so much to talk about this week. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Listen, I'm ready too. All right, so what's the first topic?
Shoo! Man, so we got a few things going on tonight. So I know one thing we've been talking about has been this situation.
I feel like it's the one respecting the home and respecting your home versus the boss.
Oh, yes. So, y'all, we gonna talk about that.
Stay off the weed.
Say we did not have a choice. We chose.
Ladies, let me tell y'all something too, because y'all be on y'all.
Okay.
Look, you giving them all the secrets today.
I'm giving them all the secrets. Hey y'all. Hey y'all, it's been
all right. Listen, we got a video. We got the
Ladies,
video.
Let me tell y'all something too, because y'all be on y'all bullshit. Y'all ass to go to work and treat that fake ass work husband better than you do your own damn husband at home. Let's talk about it. At work, you smiling, you laughing, you always giggling and kicking and cock-eyeing in that man's face at work. Your co-worker that you call yourself flirting with and liking. But your ass get home, your husband can't do nothing right. You can bitching and complaining, moaning and groaning about every damn thing. At work, you going to work looking good, smelling good, hair laid, dyed and fried, laid to the goddamn side. But at home, you motherfucking ass with a bonnet on, with your hair sticking up on your head, won't even try to fix up, won't even try to goddamn put some lip gloss on your lips or none of that. Everything you say to that man at work, you so polite, you so respectful. But your damn husband asks you something, you got an attitude. You goddamn cussing and fussing and goddamn, make the man not even want to say nothing to your ass. Come on now, how you gonna respect a motherfucker that you ain't even married to more than you respect a man that you call yourself in a relationship with, supposed to love and cherish and adore and all this other bullshit? Y'all need to stop that shit for real. Y'all need to stop putting other folks before your damn spouses. I'm telling you, coming from somebody who did similar shit, I'm telling you ladies, do not fuck up a good thing. If your man treat you good, you motherfucking cherish his ass. Cause there's a lot of motherfuckers out here who don't give a damn about you. I guarantee you that work husband ain't gonna do nothing for you the way your husband do. Think about it.
Phew. I mean,
First
she
of
said
all,
a lot.
I think she better. It's just something about people using a whole bunch of cuss words in one sentence that it takes away from the message. Okay, so for all the saints out there, I feel you because I felt the same way watching this video. But anyways, let's get into this topic, Tim.
Yeah.
You want me to start or you want to start?
Well, I mean, I would say this. I'll go ahead and start. That has been something that I know that I've heard other men talk about, is how the woman has more respect for the people at her job, the people that pay her, as opposed to having a level of respect that's higher at home, where we will see things like a woman being submissive to their boss. And don't let it be a male boss, because now the husband's going to feel some kind of way where you at his beck and call when it means getting stuff done. But then your husband may ask you to get some things done or do some things or or support him in a particular kind of way, and there's inconsistent behavior, there is moaning and complaining, there's griping, there's procrastinating. And then so we as I would say some masculine men look at it as, well, if you are going to go the extra mile for this manager, this boss, this job, you don't necessarily go this hard for me at home. And that's been a complaint from men too, where they just don't feel that kind of respect in the home that they deserve. So that's just one example, but I've seen that happen multiple times, and men have talked about it and been frustrated about it to the point where it just causes a strain in your marriage. So that's just one example I do have about that. I think the lady, once you get past all of the vulgar language and everything, I understand what she was saying. She pretty much was pleading women to not be in the same position that she probably had been in the past, because she was coming from a passionate place, like she had made that mistake, right? And so if that's the case, I would listen to it, of course, once you filter through all the things that she was saying and everything like that. But the message above all was dope. And it was great to see a Black woman at that, try to really relay that message to other women, not to make that same mistake. So what you got?
Where do I start? I'll start with, I agree and I disagree. Okay, I'm going to say this. I agree with that you shouldn't have more respect for anyone else outside of the home than you have for your spouse. I will start there. I completely 1000% agree with, there is a problem. I remember, like, with my ex-husband, he used to, I don't know if he maybe he was serious. He used to be like, if I was Mike, which was my boss, like when I worked at a bank, he's like, if I was Mike, you would do this. If I was Mike, you would do that. Like, he used to make these little jokes. I'm gonna call them jokes, or comments that says, like, I feel like you respect your boss more than you respect me, or I feel like if Mike were to ask you to do it, you would ask how high and how far, and you would do all of that. But I think the caveat to that is, we understand, like, relationships are already work, but we don't want it to necessarily feel like work when we're at home, right? I feel like work should be a place where you can let your hair down, be vulnerable. So the things the tap dancing that we do at work, and y'all know what it is. You tap dance for that work. You can't show your full self at work. You can't be emotional at work. People are going to look at you crazy, but at home, you should be able to be your full self. And sometimes it may come across that you're more eager to do things for people that you really don't know, and that they really don't know who you are, behind closed doors. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. And I don't feel like we have enough grace for each other, because there is a difference, right? There is a difference in how we do that. And there was this one video, it's like so old, and the video was probably done before I was born, before you and I were born. And it was a lady and a man, and she was talking about, well, how come you do this with the boss, and how come you do that with the boss? Because I pretend with them. So you get to see me when I'm angry. You get to see me when I'm sad. You get to see me when I'm tired. You get to see all of these versions of me when I don't want to do something and I say no and I give you pushback. You get to see that version of me, because with you, I don't have to pretend. And we have to kind of weigh the differences that for each other, that it may come across like we respect people outside of our homes, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's just the ability I can be vulnerable with you. And sometimes I don't want to tap dance for you, babe. I don't want to put on a face for you. I want to be real with you. But in the video, she's like, well, how come they get the best version of you and I get the version of you that's angry? How come you can't pretend with me? Right? So it's like, I think it's deeper than what we make it. But I feel like the more we try to make a comparison from work to home, the more that we're not going to be ourselves if we have to pretend all day. So there has to be balance. So I agree and I disagree. So that's my long-winded version of that answer.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's a different perspective. That's a different perspective that I've ever heard. You're right. When we go to work, we have to be a condensed, watered down version of ourselves. We don't have to be our true, authentic selves at work. Although you have people that are authentically them 24/7, whether they're at work, at home, at school, at the club, everywhere, right? Um, I think grace can be extended in that particular case, knowing that you have to be that watered down, condensed version of yourself, but it has to be balanced, as you said. I understand that you got to go full throttle at work. I understand that you have to say yes. You have to kind of be a yes person, a yes woman in that situation. I fully understand that. But I also think that when you're too much of one thing with one particular side, which is the work side, if you're one particular way, you're this particular kind of way. But then when you do get home and you are, having an attitude because something is being asked of you or required in that moment, and that's the constant thing and that's consistent, then that's where you have to say, okay, there's something a little out of whack here. We have to just bring it in and balance it a tad bit. So I think that's fair because you still have that person who sees you in every single light and they have to deal with you every day. I would have to extend grace knowing that you got to do what you got to do. But because I'm extending you grace and I understand the position that you're in, all I'm saying is don't forget about me. I think that's a fair response to that, in my opinion. So it's understanding on both sides, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. As you honestly use that same model for any kind of situation. You'll hear preacher kids say, "Well, Dad, you're always there for the people at the church, but you're not there for me. How come you respect them more? How come you do this for them more?" Yeah. So it's like you could literally flip the coin, use it for everything. I think it really falls to, like you said, like I'm gonna keep saying, the balance piece and also just really understanding the grace piece. Sometimes we miss the grace piece. We miss that grace piece because we have our needs and we want you to show up for us and we want you to talk sweet to us 2000%. Like nobody's listen, I know some very sweet people, but you cannot be one all the time.
Nah.
Nothing affects you. Like the Bible says there's a season for everything. So there's no way that I could believe you're just going to have one fixated emotion. Like if you're able to weather the storms and all emotions of somebody and they can be vulnerable, respectfully vulnerable. Let me say respectfully emotional. Yeah. Then I think that's somebody being able to let their guard down with you. But I do agree that women, we could do a better job at respecting our men. So I'm going to also say that we could absolutely do a better job at listening to you guys and not dismissing it or minimizing it. It's really important for us women to actually hear you guys when you say things. And I think oftentimes, like even when I said it, like my ex-husband used to jokingly, it probably wasn't a joke. Maybe I took it as a joke and maybe it was really serious for him to be like, you know what? I need for you to respect me more because it hurts me when it feels like you're respecting other people more than you respect me. And you say you love me and you don't love this person. So why would you show up for them in that way and you can't show up for me in the same way? So I think it's, holding the mirror to myself and to ourselves. We can always do a better job.
It's real. And I was just excited to hear because I'm like, man, it's refreshing to hear things like, what you just mentioned about, women we could do a better job of. Because being honest, that's a tough thing for women to admit. You know that. So I appreciate you being.
Some women.
Not everything is mutually exclusive to all women.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I got y'all, women. I got y'all.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next one. So we have an interesting topic regarding marijuana and fitness. So if you've been living under a rock your entire life, I'm pretty sure you know what marijuana is. And so we're gonna play this interesting clip about a Georgia man has a fitness center, and he has decided that he makes weed a requirement for his clients to take. Take a look.
Stay off the weed. It's stay off the weed. And you can't stay off the weed. He ain't getting busted for using weed.
So, a fitness trainer really makes his clients make it a requirement that you smoke weed at his facility. What you think about this, Tam?
Father God. Hey, Stephanie. Welcome to the live. Let's get into it. So, first and foremost, why? Okay, I'm gonna start with that. Why? Okay. This is two-part because I personally am not an advocate for marijuana. I'm not an advocate for any type of drugs that do not keep you sober, getting drunk included. Like I'm completely against it. And then from the physical standpoint, Tim and I, we're really big in fitness, right? And me personally, I just don't feel like it's good. While marijuana may have some things that might be beneficial to our body, right? However, consuming fire, when you consume fire, it kind of takes away from that benefit. And that's just like, I just don't agree with that piece. Like if it was an edible, maybe edible, or, they have those drinks now. I get it. But what does it really have to do with fitness? Is it a fad? Are we doing it because it just seems cool? It's gonna get weed heads to come. Like I'm trying to figure out the reason why this is a requirement. Are there some health benefits that I just don't know where you're smoking? Because I still know that smoking is really not good for you, no matter what it is. It's simply not good for you. It kind of counteracts the benefits in a lot of ways. So for me, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog. what you got, Tim?
So I'm on the objective side. Callie Queen, what's good? How are you? We see
Callie's like, I like it.
I like it. She said, I like it. LOL. And she said, weed and workouts is the business. So, interestingly, mammies are dangerous. How are you? He is a man. We are supposed to follow the man.
I mean, you're right. You're right. We're supposed to follow these men, but listen, where are they taking us, honey?
Okay, so I'm going to say this. I'm actually with Callie Queen on this one, actually, to some degree. Okay. Now, I have indulged in weed. I have smoked a little bit of marijuana in my day. That is probably the only drug, quote unquote, that I have outside of prescription that I've ever indulged in, taken. And I will say that it has a lot of health benefits. Number one. It also has, when it comes to the different strands and all these things, there's different effects for different things. And before I indulged and before I ever took of any type of marijuana, any weed or anything, put anything in my body, I did my own research. I wanted to make sure that safe thing for me to do because, like you say, we're both in health and fitness. So I didn't want, and during the time that I had indulged back in 2019 for the first time, it was my very first time, but I was actually in the midst of competing for a bodybuilding competition. And so when I took it the first time, of course, I was all messed up. Second time I took it, it was really beneficial for working out. It's just something about taking your mind off of the pain, taking your, like, it helped push actually. But from the smoking aspect, I didn't smoke. I was taking like the edibles and those types of things, which I felt like were more beneficial as opposed to smoking because I already have asthma. It just wasn't a good thing to do it from that aspect. But doing it just period, the thing is that we can drink. If we could drink and drink wine, the thing is we're not supposed to indulge in it, right? We're not supposed to indulge into it, but can we drink it? Is it and that's a controversial topic too. So these things that we could do, everything we could do, we could turn it into something that's not good, that's not beneficial. But the things that we're talking about here, I don't believe is necessarily a bad thing. It's about how do you use it and what the indulgement level is. That's my personal opinion on it.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
I bet. I get it, but I get your side. I get your point of view, and I get your side too.
And the reason I feel that way, because I'm always looking at this from a biblical lens, where the Bible talks about be ye sober minded, right? So anything that takes us away from being sober minded allows us not to be focused on God, right? So that's the one aspect of it. So the Bible says we can drink, but we're not supposed to get drunk, right? We're not supposed to overly indulge in that, right? Obviously, everything that God puts on this earth, it was good, right? But how we indulge in it makes it, not good for us. So
let me ask you this. Okay, have you ever taken marijuana in your life?
Yeah, back in college.
Okay.
I tried to smoke. I didn't get high. It was weird. So it stinks, first of all. Let's start there. Okay. It stinks.
But not all marijuana is through the lens of smoking. And so you're saying,
okay, so I've had an edible before too, right? So I have had an edible, it's been like some years now, but I have had an edible before, and literally I was just like, oh no, I can't. There's no way.
But you're saying that it's every single time that a person indulges in marijuana, it's exactly for like being sober-minded. You can still be sober-minded while having marijuana in your system. You're still sober-minded, even doing it from the aspect of taking like an edible, whatever. What if somebody wants to take it and they got to focus for work? Because it still gives you a cerebral thought process if you take it in that particular kind of way. That's why I was saying it's different strands that have different effects, that it may not necessarily be based on, am I going to be drunken or I'm not going to be of sober mind. That's all I'm saying.
But let's be honest, a majority of people that do marijuana aren't doing it not to get high. The whole point is to innately get high. And a lot of people do marijuana to not be present in their physical reality. So personally, I have family members that don't deal with issues. They just smoke.
So that's not every.
I know, but I'm not saying that's everyone. I'm saying specific. The thing is, even though something is good, that's like I said, I'm not shaming anybody that does this. But the problem is it's often perverted. What's good is often perverted, and people use it not for medicinal needs. Like you telling me about medicinal needs and all of these things, which I believe in. Like I know people do it, cancer patients use it and all of these things. So
PTSD,
the list goes on and on. So I get all of those things, but for the people that aren't using it for those and they're using it to escape reality, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just, you're using it recreationally for what reason?
So let me ask you this then. Those people, I'm just playing devil's advocate at this point. Those people that we just saw from the Atlanta gym, you're saying that those same people, they're trying to escape something, but what if it's more so them? It is a medicinal situation for them from a mental aspect. I gotta push through something that's challenging and difficult, because really, look at them. They in the gym. That's not anywhere where they trying to escape something. They trying to overcome some things.
So you're saying that's the same thing as pre-workout?
It could be, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not like what? Like what? I gotta get one more rep, so I gotta smoke marijuana. Like what? Listen, I'm done. Do you? No, look, listen. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just not going to participate in those festivities. Okay?
No, I get honestly, it's not so much. And honestly, they have like different things like the CBD stuff. That's just as effective. So I even try to educate people.
Yeah. Listen, CBD cool. Me and CBD, because I can't get high off of CBD. It's a downer, you know. So
yeah,
it relaxes you. So I get that, but like, yeah, all the other stuff where it's literally like, well, listen, those edibles that I had. No, you can absolutely escape your reality and in a whole new reality, a whole new realm, and I'm not interested.
That's it. So and I use CBD. CBD is cool, and like it doesn't give the head high. It might give the body high. It might give the calming effect, but you still can mentally function as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool. I had to give a different little perspective from it. We're not gonna always agree on stuff, you know that, right? It's cool.
I know. But all right, what we got next?
A bag over a man. Ladies, how many times have you had to choose a bag over a man? So we're gonna pull this one up for you guys to watch. So check this out.
Say we did not have a choice. We chose greed. We chose a bag over a man. We chose to not have our children. We would rather have a bunch of money than have our children have a father in the home.
I disagree.
No. You have to know the history. This is proven fact.
History.
No,
men
this is proven
were not
facts.
able to work and provide for their
That's
families. We were forced to take the government check.
That's false.
They couldn't stay in the house if they were there.
That's false.
Then how were they going to feed the children?
False.
And where was
the
it coming
children
from?
were fed. Women were greedy
because it was coming from the government.
No.
But if the husband was home, he wouldn't be employed.
Black women wanted to be like white women in the Cosmopolitan magazine. The woman who started Cosmopolitan magazine, the main editor, she is now a Catholic, and she repented from what she did. She said we were teaching women because we wanted all women to feel that we had a gripe with white men. And so this is public knowledge. You look it up on YouTube.
She talked about it.
Yes, absolutely. They wanted black women to also be part of their movement in other races because it wasn't enough. The black woman and the black man had to stay together in the U.S. because it was the only way for us to overcome. What they did was with Cosmo, they lied. These were women that would say, you know what, this is a single woman, moved to New York. She's sleeping with different men. She has her life. She has her own money, her education. She's getting these jobs. These women were promoting promiscuity and living a certain lifestyle when they were all married. They were all lying and making up these people because it was supposed to be a fantasy magazine. But women were taking...
There's so much to unpack from this.
You have the floor. Go for it.
I don't want it. I'm going to start with, I don't know what I don't know. Right? I'm going to start with saying that. And I say that because I personally wouldn't choose a bag over a man. Like, I personally wouldn't do that. And the narrative that all Black women are chasing a bag over a man, I feel like it's just so inconsistent with who we are as a tribe. who we are as a community, and it further feeds into this narrative that wasn't created by us, but we have to buy into this is who we are. When I look on social media, when I'm on Instagram and Facebook, I hear it in the music, right? When I watch it on BT, it's everywhere I see when they put on these movies and shows that are supposed to represent Black people. This is what we see, but is that really who is in your tribe and your community, what your family and friends do? Is that what you see on the daily basis? Because it's not what I see. Like for me, I talk about grew up in a 2-parent home. My parents are very much in love. They both chase success. They both don't compete. My dad is very much the man of the house. He is a provider. He is a protector. And that's absolutely 100% what I believe most people who look like me are, what they represent. And it's hard for me to just buy into this narrative that we are just out here chasing a bag and we don't really care about our brothers, because we need each other. Whatever the narrative may be, like we need each other. And reality is maybe there are some apples, some bad apples, right? Are they spoiling the whole bunch? Maybe they are. Statistically, perhaps. Perhaps they are. But I can't say, if you look up the numbers now, our marriage rates are actually increasing. For our generation, they're actually getting better. The generation before us, not so much, right? So I can't really buy into this narrative. How I can agree that it is being pushed. Like she mentioned, I can agree that it has been pushed to us, right? As this is what we need to focus on. But will I say that every person I know is buying into this narrative? Absolutely not. It's hard for me to say that because that's not my reality, right? My reality is my perception, and I have to speak on my who I am and what my community looks like for me. I think it would be a disservice for me to be like, yeah, that's all we care about. Bags over, like it would be, that wouldn't even be me. It makes me, honestly, I'm sad to think that this is the narrative. I'm sad to think that. I don't know. That's all I got.
I know it's sad to think that that's not the narrative. And I'm so glad that that's not the reality that you grew up in. Your reality of having a 2-parent household, father being a provider, protector, your mom playing her position, still chasing success, but still being a wife. All of that stuff is such a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful that you had that reality. But there is another side of the reality too. There's another side of that where you were blessed to have that in a lot of more cases in our culture, which stretches way back to slavery. Let's go back to slavery on how women in the house, men outside. And then you go from even dealing with subsidy housing and being on, different government programs and things. The men were supposed to leave the house. And so that was a reality from back in the day. And even to this day, now it's been the narrative being pushed on us from men not being in the house. Now the woman got to chase a bag and she has to do all these things. And that's because of the fall of the man. The inadequacies that were put on us as men as well. There's both sides. We got to take responsibility for not being there, but then we also have been behind the 8 ball in our culture for such a long time because they do know how powerful we can be when we are stronger together. Just like how your mom and dad were together, we're together all that time. You're stronger because of that. You're wiser because of that. You have a foundation because of that, and so that wasn't a lot of realities back in the day, unfortunately. Maybe in a circle of maybe in your circle it could have been. Maybe in my circle it could have been like that too. And in my circle it was like that growing up. When I looked on my block back in Randallstown, Maryland, my next door neighbor had 2 sons. They were married, husband and wife. They still together to this day, over 40 years. And then my neighbor down the street grew up 2-parent household until his father passed away. God bless his soul. They grew up like in our realities. We saw it. But then we also saw the other reality. We could just go, if you went to Carter High School here in Dallas, or if you went to Duncanville or DeSoto, and you could go across the board and see more students than not didn't grow up in that type of environment. So as a result, the cycle was repeated to where the woman was going out to work, having 3 jobs. She had to get a bag. So now we living in a culture where that's what they pushing that in our culture. It went from Me Too. So now it was, we going from, I even look at it from a political aspect, right? Every single administration has an agenda. Where Obama, it was pushing LGBTQ. Where Trump, it was pushing so much of the Me Too movement in women. So that even started the aspect of empowering women. So we getting rid of all the bad stuff that happened to you. We bringing all that to the forefront, but now we want to empower you into this particular type of situation with this administration and saying, listen, we don't even need the men around, the women. We're gonna get a bag, we're gonna push that. So it's so many different devices against that situation. That's just my.
Let me ask you this, Tim. So do you feel like women voluntarily chose the bag over the man, or do you feel like the only choice we had was to strive for success?
No, I don't particularly think that women chase the bag. When I think of women, first of all, y'all want love and security from a man first and foremost. I would believe that. I would believe that is the foundation of a woman. You want the security from a man. You crave the security from a man. You want the man to step up and be the man that God called you to be. So where I was mostly just talking about facts, but I don't believe that women come up and say, I'm gonna chase a bag over a man. I want to chase a bag. A lot of times y'all are forced into that type of success because if nobody gonna get it, I'm gonna get it as a woman. I'm gonna get it. Yeah. So I do believe that while I'm giving you the facts, the reality is the woman in most cases is not looking to replace money over a man, because is that money gonna keep you warm at night? You know, is that money going to encourage you, lift you up, or hold you when you cry? No, it ain't gonna do none of that. That's just one example of it. Women desire men to be men so that y'all can be women.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So as you were talking, the first thing that was coming to my mind is like, if a woman is chasing a bag, it still isn't over a man. She's chasing the bag because she had no options but to do that. Or what was left, what the man left behind would crumble, the family would crumble, kids, like there's so much. And I'm not saying that to like crap on men or any of that. It's not crapping on men, but the reality of it, like if I'm talking about for myself, the reason why I'm so successful today is because I got let down by a man. I got left holding the bag, so I had to go chase one, right? So and it worked out for its good. All things works out for its good, but for me, like having gone through that and being in a situation where I am now, like even if that were the case, like being disappointed or not, I still wouldn't choose a bag like over a man, because I just feel like if you have a solid man, the right man, you have it all. You have the bag too. Like you have everything. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're wise enough, if you're wise enough to realize the value of a good man or a good woman, you realize that all of that is encompassing. Right. So I just wanted to say that, because the narrative to me isn't a bag over a man. It's just really perhaps the woman was forced into chasing the bag, so the man feels like he got replaced, when really that wasn't the case. She just had to do what she needed to do in order to survive. That's really what it is. And when you put somebody in survival mode, it's hard to get them out. It's hard to get the person out of survival mode. They have PTSD. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it.
Years and years and years of PTSD.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I would say, unfortunately, women were forced into doing a lot of things that they shouldn't have been doing, gender roles that they had played that they shouldn't have played. I wholeheartedly think that's not been right, and I think that has been because men, we're the strong. Like, God made us the stronger vessel, right? In that sense, He made us from that aspect of being the head. But we haven't taken our role as the head. The woman has had to take our role as the head. And that's tiring. That's exhausting. That's survival mode in itself. And so when you have a good man that comes in, a masculine man comes in and says, you ain't got to wear that hat no more. I can wear that hat. She's not going to just hand over that hat to you. No, she going to wrestle with it and wrestle with it and wrestle with it because she has a lack of trust with men.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to actually come into a situation and really be yourself and it's unfair in that sense, but you're going to have to kind of erase all the wrongs of all the other men that came before you who didn't step up to the plate and be that masculine man, where she didn't have to necessarily chase the bag, or she was chasing it by herself. Now you got to come in and prove constantly and consistently, hey, I'm here to chase it with you. I'm here to build with you. I'm here to let you breathe a little bit. And that's a very hard thing for a woman in survival mode to do. You just got to walk alongside her as she relinquishes that handle on things. Once she trusts you more, then it's a lot easier.
I agree. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there, so I get it. I get it. But it's a beautiful thing when you're able to get back to yourself. It's such a beautiful thing.
Right. It's scary too. It's I would assume that's a scary feeling, right?
Yeah. It's very jarring. Very jarring, because it's like you don't know if you trust somebody, if you're going to fall again and have to start all the way over. So to be in that, it's very vulnerable, and it comes with a lot of issues when you're going through it. Because I remember when I met this one guy or whatever, and he's just like, oh, you just like to be in control, don't you? And I'm like, no, I don't. But really, that was my trauma response, was to be in control so I wouldn't fall.
Yeah.
So it wasn't intentional. It wasn't that I wanted to be a control freak. It's just because I had to be that way. And it's hard when you have to be a certain way. It's just so hard to not be what you had to be for yourself in order not to crumble. So yeah, it's very scary.
You and Allie are both Taurus women. And that's one of the things that the same thing that you just said, she would ask me. She would say, babe, do you think that I'm too controlling? Mm-hmm. And I would tell her, no, it's not that. I already knew that it's not the fact that you're controlling. It's just that you don't know how to relinquish control because you haven't been able to trust a man to relinquish control to. But you can rest assured you can get that to me now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the words that I was saying, oh, you give it to me and I'm expecting her to give it to me. No, it's my actions that got to prove that you can really give it to me and you can really trust me. And that didn't come overnight. And it's still going to be that's something that if you've had to struggle with all your life, that ain't something that's going to happen just because you say I do. It's going to be a constant thing that you got to work with that person, but you got to extend grace to them because they got to come over on their side and say it's okay to breathe a little bit. So it's going to be moments where you got to give them gentle correction.
Yeah.
I got it. It's okay. So
yeah.
I get it. For all the ladies out there, fellas, number one, let's get these women a safe space to be feminine. If you want them to be feminine, step up. Try to get your bag, you know, get your bag built with them, communicate with them, love on them, let them live in their femininity a little bit.
Yeah. You go get the bag so we don't have to go chase it.
There it is. There it is. There it is. And I get that too, you know. But yeah, so that was a good one. That was a real good one.
It got deep. It got deep.
It got deep. All right, so we got a couple more. We
ain't gonna smooth past the fact that Stephanie had said.
Oh, okay.
We just ain't gonna smooth past the fact that Stephanie said, I think it's wrong. Our body is a temple. Also, you shouldn't need a substance to give you more energy for fitness. I agree with Tim. Right on, my sister.
All right. Well, Stephanie, hey, I respect that. I do respect that. Your body is a temple. I think you're absolutely right. But people do have medicinal reasons why they do it, and so we can't discount those type of people. Now, people for recreational purposes who abuse good things, because as Tam even said, God blessed the earth with everything for good intentions, including that.
He said it. That's the scripture.
He said it. So it's not like it's a bad thing. I think there's a bad stigma on it based on the people that have abused it, misused it, and have done whatever they wanted to do with it. I think it's just given a bad rap, but it's not bad. It's how you use it.
Yeah. What if marijuana is supposed to be used for something completely different from how we use it? Just like I was gonna say another drug. I don't want us to get dinged. Never mind.
No. Listen, we're not dealing with no gateway stuff.
Let's go. This guy like, why are you snorting this? I made this for your shoes.
Oh, we're not skating over this. Yes, very good point, Tim. Thank you,
Stephanie, pick a side.
You said no.
No, I love it. Oh man.
No, that's real. No, but I respect your opinion, Stephanie. You're absolutely right. You know, I just also understand that we have put a bad stigma on it, and it is about how we use it. So we can rock with that. All right. So, Miss Tam, what's going on in Israel right now? What exactly has happened?
So high level, I want to talk about what's going on, and I don't want to offend anybody as I'm talking about this. I'm just going to talk about what I know, and what I don't know, don't add to. Okay. So based on what I've been reading and what I've been hearing from Palestinians is that their land was stolen. It's been like Israel's been taking their land over I don't know how many years. And they have displaced a lot of Palestinians. Israel has. And now we are in a situation where it's war. It's war, and when it's war, nobody wins, right? And unfortunately, the people that may have taken the land, those aren't the people that are dying in the streets, right? I just saw like a post prior to jumping on this that they were decapitating women and children, right? So it's difficult because a piece of me understands, let's say generationally, what it's like for land to be stolen, to be displaced. I understand that I'm very much Native American and African American. I have ties to both, so I get it. Like I get the get back, right? I get it. But there's also a piece of me that says like a lot of innocent people are dying in the streets, and what is the cost? Is it? I can't say what's worth it or not, because we all have our wars, and America is not with clean hands. Let's talk about it. But I just want to, definitely send condolences, honestly, for people that are, suffering at the hands of Palestinians right now or Israelites right now. Like on both sides, definitely sending condolences. I have people that work out in Israel. I heard there are hostages, American hostages out there right now as well. So definitely want to send, thoughts, prayers to everyone affected in this situation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Just for that insight. And my prayers and condolences go out to the people of Israel as well. It's just been a crazy 48 hours over
Yeah.
there. And it's very interesting because not even a couple weeks ago, last Sunday, I was in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was actually born in Philly, but raised in Baltimore. And so I went back to my home church in Randallstown, Maryland. And shout out to New Antioch Baptist Church in Randallstown. Definitely enjoyed that service. But nonetheless, my pastor had preached a sermon, and he said, one of the things he said, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, but he said, if you really want to know what's going on in the world, and if you really want to know how close to the end days we are, look at Israel. Look at what's going on in Israel. That's how close we are to the rapture. That's how close we are to the second coming, is because of all the things that are going on in Israel right now. And so I'm not going to talk about all the facts and the things about the decapitation of women and children, because it's already such a sad and gruesome and just a vile thing, right? We're not going to talk about that. The place I'm going to come from is, people, if you are listening, watching on replay or live, get your life together now. Like, get it all together now. Get your stuff in order spiritually now, because we are living in the end days. None of us are perfect. None of us can sit here and be faultless on anything, but I'm just coming from a place of concern when it comes to our world and our people. Get yourself right now, because you mess with Israel, it's bad. It's bad. And those people that, like, I understand to get back with the land, but like Tam said, war is not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody. And so this could really shape up to be a pretty bad situation. That's all I really got.
Hi. It's so heavy and it's so sad. So I don't know. I was like, I don't know if America's getting involved. I've been hearing talks. So we'll keep you guys posted as everything unfolds. And we'll go from there. Tim, we have one last topic, but I think we're waiting on a special guest. Are we still waiting on somebody special?
Man, I think that guy went to sleep. I think our guest went to sleep, since it's currently 11:09 on the East Coast, and so we'll get him on another time. But we do have one final topic, and it is called "Are You Friends with a Cheater?"
Okay, before we get into this topic, if you're new here and you've enjoyed our content thus far, go ahead and click that like, follow, or subscribe button. We appreciate you being a part of the tribe. All right, Sam, let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Please like, share, subscribe, follow us. Tim and Tam Talks podcast, The Back Pew. We are just excited to do life with you guys every week. And so, yeah, our final topic for the evening about are you friends with a cheater is really interesting, because it really is a personal post that I put up back on September the 27th. So I'm going to read this quote to you guys, and I've gotten so much feedback about it that I just figured I'd share it with you guys, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I posted this post back on the 27th of September, and I said, men, I'm going to share this uncomfortable opinion. Stop being friends with men who are comfortable with infidelity. So that's a pretty hot topic. I can speak from personal experience that I actually was on the other side years ago. Tam and I, this is not our first podcast. Tam and I did the Church Boy with Childhood Trauma series over the summer. We did a 6-part series on that, and in that we were telling about our stories about, me being, for example, me being a church boy growing up in the church, but having so much childhood trauma that it spread into relationships, marriages, and me being on that side of infidelity as well. And I am a very transparent and candid man, so I'm not afraid to share because I've overcome those things. But I was on that side of being having extramarital affairs in my previous marriage, and so I know that my friends knew, and they accepted it, and they were, very, like kind of rah-rah me on and encourage, like, yeah, they weren't encouraged. Some of my friends were not encouraging. And ironically, I lost a best friend because of my behavior and because of him knowing. And I think that because he knew and his wife found out and all those things, it pretty much was like, you really shouldn't be friends with him. And so he decided to disconnect from me. And that was, while that was hurtful, it was understanding. So I'm coming from a personal story, putting myself on the front line and saying that I even understand someone that I love that's near and dear to my heart saying they're not even friends with me anymore because of the fact that I was that kind of way, and that I'm not that way anymore. But at the same time, when the damage is done, the damage is done. And so I encourage you fellas, especially men, if you know men that are being disloyal, dishonest, unfaithful to their wives, and you just kind of let the behavior go, you're just as wrong and just as guilty. You may not be committing the act, but you know the dishonesty, and you're being dishonest as well in that situation. So I'm just encouraging you guys to definitely take the high road. And it's not to say that you stop, you just judge people and you don't meet them where they are, but iron sharpens iron. And so it's an influence thing, in my opinion. It's an influence thing. So if you know that somebody's doing it, you encourage them, hey man, come clean, or hey, stop doing what you're doing, and they still continue to do those things, then you have a decision to make on if you should still be friends with them or not. But if they are coming to you saying, being contrite and being remorseful and all those things, that's not saying you got to cut them off. That's saying, okay, I'm gonna meet you where I am so that we can definitely get through this. If you want to walk, and I've had friends that have walked along this journey with me to be the man that I am today that didn't give up on me, and I'm so thankful that they didn't give up on me. So we need those people, and I didn't encourage them to do the same things that I was doing. I wasn't even that kind of dude. I was trying to come up on a level, and that's the thing. They stayed, and I came up on a level. It was a blessing, and that's why I'm the man. That's part of the reason why I'm the man I am today. So we need to just decipher who is good for our circle and who's best for us.
I held my breath the whole time you were talking.
Okay.
Wow. Start there. Are you friends with a cheater? Women cheat too. Let me start with that, because I don't think we say that enough. Women cheat too. And I think women cheat more than men. That's just my personal opinion on it. I'm not supposed to say that, but hey, the cat's out the bag. All right. I feel like women cheat too. I have a current friend that was absolutely sleeping with a married man, and I used to be so disgusted about it. But I never in my mind was like, I'm not going to be friends with this person because of their behavior, right? It's probably like 10 years ago. I was always like, oh, we could separate like how wrong this is, and because she's just my good friend, right? But in retrospect, I wish I am now, but I wish back then I was a bit more gung-ho around cutting off relationships that were no good for me because of that's who their character is. Yeah. So I just feel like I'm not friends with any cheaters. And if people are cheaters, they don't tell me because they know me. They know I'm very much the judgy type. Like I judge righteous. I don't judge based on the outer appearance, like the Bible says. I judge very righteously when it comes to that. I call sin, and it goes for me too. Like I don't placate sin because it's one that I favor. Like it's sin for all of us. No one is above reproach. So, but today I don't have any friends that are cheaters. And I think if someone were to be in my inner circle and that was the character of who they were, they would no longer be in my inner circle just because I prefer women around me that will help me get closer to God and not sway me. And I think sometimes we don't realize the impact of our influence, especially being on social media. How many times do you have people say, man, I've been following, they never comment. They probably never like anything, but they might slide in your DMs and just be like, hey, I've been following you. You post such good stuff. Like, I appreciate you saying it. And you never know the impact of your influence because people are watching you. They're watching how you carry yourself. They're watching what you put out there. They're watching what you do to your spouse. Something comes out, like what you present yourself out, you should be. And if you can't be that person, then I question people that have false character or just wrong character. So I think if we understand and put into factor like the weight of how we live this life, especially being the king's kid, right? We could just do a better job at just being more influential to lead people to God rather than to key about the ways to get away from God. So that's just kind of where I am, but I'm very much guilty of having friends that have cheated, having friends that have slept with married men. I didn't rah-rah them, but I didn't also excommunicate myself. I don't know if I pacified the behavior or not, And I feel like sometimes people need consequences to their bad decisions or in order for them to change. If we never had a consequence, how will we know to grow? How will we know to change? How will we know the impact of what we did wrong if we never had the consequence? We probably just out here be doing all kinds of manner of crazy things. But I think if we had more moral character with our friendships, I think the better off they would be. And that's just me.
It's good. It's good. I like it. I like it all. You're right. Sometimes we don't call out sin just because we'll turn a blind eye to it and not say anything because we're like, well, look, it ain't my business. But God created us for a relationship. Right. And sometimes in our relationships, we have to lovingly correct sin. We have to do that in a relationship. That's the best place to do it, is in relationship. How many times have we been in situations where people don't know us and they judge the outer appearance of us, don't know a thing about us, but then the people that know us the closest choose not to speak up because they don't want to rock the boat, right, or they don't want to lose the friendship, or they don't want to lose the relationship and all those things. But what's important is that we understand that it's not so much about the relationship. It's the fact that a soul is really on the line right now. So if you truly love and care about that person, you want to speak up and speak on what's right, as opposed to turning a blind eye to it because you care about their soul. You care about how they are with God. Are you right with God? But you might not be right with me because I said something. That's for God to deal with. That's not my battle. Because you're not going to like what I'm going to say. But I'm still going to tell you because I love you and I care about your soul more above all. And so we got to take that approach, not only as men, but women too. But we just have to do that for us as a people. If we know that we love and care about somebody, if we know that we're friends with people that are doing something wrong, you know, God will give us the right way. If we pray and ask for direction, He'll give us the clarity that we need to be able to have those difficult conversations with people about the correction. You know, so that's my take on it.
I love that. And what if God put you in that relationship with that person just for you to be able to correct them? And we miss the mark. We're silent.
It's putting them at risk in so many ways, because what if something happens? What if something irreversible, irretrievable happens to them and you didn't say anything and you didn't speak up? Now you have to live with that type of regret for the rest of your life, knowing that you could have said something, knowing that you could have done something, and you chose to miss the opportunity, because God gives us opportunities in multiple ways for us to evangelize, in order for us to connect with people. He gives us all those opportunities. It's a matter if we are hearing him and if we're watching and being alert. And the only way you could do that, honestly, is that you got to put that full armor of God on every day. You got to put everything on. You got to be understanding of what's at stake. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot. It's a lot to it. So, but God simplifies it. If you ask him to, he'll show you what you need to say, who you need to say it to, and how to say it. You know, I really wish that I would have had this type of wisdom years ago, because I would have called out so many things that I saw other men do that I had opportunities to say. But because I was already enthralled into that lifestyle, I wasn't going to say nothing. Because I was already so disconnected from God, I wasn't going to say anything. And nobody was going to say anything to me because, hey, I was a hothead. I wasn't going to listen. I was stubborn. I wasn't going to listen to them. Like, God had to truly humble me and take so much away from me so that he could finally get my attention. And he did. And so I don't want other men to go through what I went through. I just don't. So I'll speak up on it if I know, even if it costs me our friendship or cost us our friendship. I'm still going to speak on it.
That's difficult. That's a difficult thing. I was laughing at a post to it was like either today or yesterday. It was talking about, I hate when I get the urge to preach, was the post, right? And I laugh because sometimes, I mean, God puts me in situations where I don't want to say nothing to nobody, right? I don't even want to be dealing with people. And he'd be like, go say hi to that person. And I'd be like, hi. And then he'd be like, all right, tell them stop sinning. Like, God, I don't even know them like
that. You make it clear and plain, man. So yeah, I get that. I totally get that. It's a
scary thing. It's just a scary thing. But I think we just have to get outside of our comfort zone, especially as people that are disciples, people that love God. Our discipleship is being able to spread the good news. The good news is the truth. And it makes us uncomfortable. Sometimes even when we know we ain't all the way right, God will still use you for somebody else. Let me be clear. And sometimes what we're dealing with makes us inadequate to be used. But God still wants to use your inadequacies to help his people. And I think once I realized that, you know, all the people in the Bible, everybody wasn't perfect. When we talk about like murderers and liars and thieves and all the people that God was using, imagine if they were just so in a shell where they say, well, God can't use Paul was killing Christians. Imagine he was just like, I can't speak on God's behalf. I was killing Christians. Imagine if he was so much in a shell that he decided he wasn't worthy when God called him worthy enough to go spread the gospel. So like little things like that stay on my mind, just to be like, if God tells you to do something, it's okay to do it. If God tells you to say something, it's okay even if they get mad at you. Hey, you did your hands are clean. You did what you were supposed to do. And I'm learning to do that now, which is why I say now I don't have friends that are cheaters. But back in the day, I had to learn to not be in position to be silent or not do what I'm really supposed to do as a believer, because I wasn't all the way right back then. I was still having sex and all of those things. I'm like, I'm not sleeping with a married man, so but I'm still having sex. So
rationalization.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I'm sinning too, but I ain't sleeping with a married man, So it's just like one of those things where it's just like, nah, we just have to, like you said, constantly correct each other, sharpen each other, chasing each other. That's how we're perfected. That's how we get better, through those hard words. Hard words aren't digestible all the time. I don't want to hear that I need to do better all the time. I just want to be the person that I am. But I need to hear it, even though I don't want to hear it. I need to hear it. And if you love me, I expect for you to love me in that way, to chasten me, as the Bible tells us. So
it's good. It's good, sis. All right. Final thoughts, Miss Ma'am. What you got?
Look, Stephanie had a little comment there. She says there's a saying that says, "Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are." That's
it's good, Stephanie.
That's so good.
It's good. It's good. I like that. And it's like an old saying, but it still rings true today.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right. So what's popping with these final thoughts? What you got?
Final thoughts for this week. Women, respect your husband. Okay. Do a better job at listening to what respect is for your husband, because it's going to be different from Paul to Peter. Okay. So you need to figure out what your Billy Bob wants and make sure you show up in that way, and make sure that you show up in a way where he's not feeling inadequate in an area where you're showing up for somebody else. That's on you. How you make them feel, that's on you. Right. Marijuana and fitness, I feel the same way I did when we talked about it. Okay. Why? Okay. Why? Like, just go get some pre-workout, call it a day. Okay. Bag over a man. No, we not getting a bag over a man. Do you know how valuable a man is, ladies? Do you know? Do you know the value of a good man? Let me tell you, girl. The man is the bag. What do you mean? What are you talking about? We don't choose the bag over the man. We choose the man. Okay. And then Israel and Palestine. So again, sending thoughts, prayers, condolences on both sides. On both sides. And as Tim was saying, listen, you pull out your Bible, you would absolutely understand what's happening today. The Bible amazes me how it's so living. Go read your Bible, understand what's happening today, and listen, we can't control the future. We can't control the future, and we don't worry about the future. Everything is in God's hands. But one thing I know for certain, two things I know for sure: if you're living for God, you're living right. And last thing, don't be friends with these cheaters. Like, listen, Joey Greco, these people, you feel me? Don't be friends with these people that are cheating on their wives and breaking up families and all this good stuff. Like, you are, as Stephanie was saying, like, you are the company you keep. I truly wholeheartedly believe that. So, and if you don't want anybody questioning you, like, you need to start picking and choosing your circle and making them show up in a way where if something happens, you can trust them morally. Is their character good? That's all I got. That's all I got. What you got, Tim?
I mean, your thoughts definitely were on point. Your final thoughts were definitely on point. Piggyback a little bit. Respecting the home. Hey, I think if anything, let's just make sure that communication in the home is important. So respect and communication go hand in hand, in my opinion. Let's communicate where we're at, so that husbands don't feel like the wives are giving all their energy to the boss and all those things, and the wife doesn't feel like she doesn't feel understood, that she got to play this role just to get her bag, get our bag, and all that. So communication goes a long way. for that balance that you guys are looking to create. Marijuana and fitness, I guess, I kind of feel the same way from when we first started talking. Like marijuana is not a bad thing. It's how you indulge into it. So fitness wise, it's worked for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. And those certain things you have to do your own research on. You have to be mindful of it and know that if you do it for anything, and if you do it and you indulge into it, that's where the sin lies. Bag over a man. Like Tam said, the man is the bag. I mean, just like the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor in the Lord. So she's the prize. But you the prize too over this situation. Like you're not marginalized over money. Okay. So she's the prize because that's what God said. God said it. The favor comes from when you pursue her, court her, marry her, treat her the way that God, as God's daughter. The favor comes. That's where the favor comes for you. That's where you obtain the favor. It says it, and that favor is amazing. It'll blow your mind. You'll be blissful if you do those things that you're supposed to do. So, but from the aspect about a bag over a man, listen. Most women don't want to play that role. So we got to step up in the ways that we can so that she doesn't have to feel overwhelmed trying to chase a bag. My prayers go out to the people of Israel. My prayers go out to the people in Israel on both sides. We know that this is just not a good time right now over there. Read your Bible, open it up, get your life right, get your stuff right. And last but not least, this is for both sides, but if you know anything about me, I speak more to the men. I don't really like to tell women what they should do, or that's not my style. My style is talking to the men. Men, make sure that your circle is right. You are the company that you keep. Iron sharpens iron, but bad company corrupts good character. It does. It corrupts it. So you got to be careful. We are all living and clothed in flesh. So we automatically can go to something bad. It's about trying to do something good is the hard part. You notice that, right? It's easy to do wrong. It's hard to do the right thing. That's because of the flesh that we wrapped into. So you just got to be very careful that you have the right influences that will not be like the type of people that are in your circle. They're not going to be negative in that way, or they'll bring you down. So I got. What else you got? You got anything else?
No, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Tim and Tam Talks podcast, The Back Pew, where we have these delightful conversations where we may not always agree. Okay. I want to shout out Stephanie, Callie, Queen, and also Mammy's Are Dangerous for tuning in with us tonight. Thank you guys very much for commenting and joining us. We'll be here next week, right, Tim?
Next week. We'll be here next Tuesday, 8:30. 8:30. As long as we don't have no kid situations, as long as we ain't got no travel, goodness gracious. But no, we're going to see y'all next week, next Tuesday, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. We're going to be back, and we're going to be living it up, having some more pop culture conversations.
Love it. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Like, subscribe, and we out.
Peace.